Hello learners, today we are going to deal with unit Feminism. We have already discussed the first part and we have taken the introduction part of feminism, and today we are going to deal with development and characteristics of feminism. In the first video we have already discussed about the introduction part of the feminism, meaning, definition and the various waves of feminism. Today we'll see how the development of this particular movement has been immersed and how and what are the characteristics of this particular theory. Now, feminism as a social and political movement has undergone significant evolution over the centuries, shaped by a wide array of thinkers, activists and philosophers. It has progressed through different waves, each marked by key publications, movements, and theoretical advancements that have profoundly influenced gender equality and women's rights worldwide. The development of feminism has been a continuous struggle against the systematic oppression of women, with its proponent striving for equal rights, opportunities, and societal recognition. This journey of feminism has been shaped by pivotal contributions from various authors and intellectuals, particularly in the 20th century, when feminist discourse gained significant traction. Now, there are many philosophers, many thinkers, many intellectualists who have already given numerous theories and numerous thinkings about the feminism, and which has ultimately shaped this particular movement. Now, among the many influential figures who contributed to the development of feminism in the 20th century, Greer, Frigate and Kate Millen stands out as key voices. In the year 1970, it has been seen that the publication of three groundbreaking books that played a crucial role in shaping feminist thoughts and activism. And these three important books are Greer's The Female Eunuchs, the Frigate's Patriarchal Attitudes, and Kate Millet's Sexual Politics. Each of these works provides critical insights into deeply entrenched societal structures that perpetuate gender inequalities, and they served as foundational texts for feminist discourses, inspiring generations of activists and scholars. So, whenever we are saying about the main three books of feminism or some of the important books of feminism, we must have to take into consideration of these particular books. Now, so far as Greer's The Female Eunuch is concerned, we'll find that it was a powerful critique of traditional femininity, and it tries to argue that women's sexuality was suppressed by societal norms, and that this suppression played a key role in their systematic oppression. Now, so far as Greer's book is concerned, we can also say that it contended that cultural conditioning forced women into roles that limited their potential, keeping them subservient with patriarchal structures. Her book encouraged women to reject these restrictions and norms and embrace a liberal sense of self. Now, so far as this particular book, that is The Female Eunuch, is concerned, it resonated with many women who felt constrained by societal expectations, and it became an essential text for the feminist movement, advocating for a radical definition of female identity. Now, we can also say that similarly, Frigate's book, The Patriarchal Attitudes, it also examined the ways in which societal institutions and historical norms reinforced male dominance. In this particular book of Frigates, always try to provide a detailed analysis of how patriarchal ideologies were embedded in legal, economic and cultural systems, making it difficult for women to break free from oppression. And one of the most important thing is that many women also think these laws to be, or these rules to be, the final rule for their life, and they have taken these rules to be ethical also. And that is why, by generation, these particular systems have been somehow going in the society, though many women had felt that this particular norms had to be norms are like that has to be broken out. Now Freegan's arguments highlights the deep-seated nature of gender-based discrimination and underscored the need for structural changes to dismantle this oppressive framework. By exposing the pervasive influence of patriarchal thought, patriarchal attitudes contributed significantly to feminist scholarship and activism. Another important book in this concern is the Kate Millett's Sexual Politics. Kate Millett's Sexual Politics was another seminal work that tried to analyze literature and historical texts to reveal the ingrained sexism within cultural and intellectual traditions. Now, if we'll deeply study Kate Millett's Sexual Politics, we'll find that this particular book has focused on the role of patriarchy in shaping gender norms and call for a radical re-evolution of traditional gender roles. Kate Millett has tried to dissect the works of influential male authors, demonstrating how literature and art perpetuated gender stereotype and reinforced male supremacy. Now, Sexual Politics became a foundation text in feminist literacy criticism, and it was instrumental in broadening the scope of feminist analysis beyond activism and into academic discourse. If we see the various topics of Kate Millett's books, we can also relate it to our Indian culture. You can, for example, you can take the famous Bollywood movies where women role has been shown in that way that they are always been protected by a male hero. So somehow this particular orientation has been grown throughout the years, and women somehow fantasize themselves like that. Now, feminist movement continued to evolve in the later part of the 20th century with additional works expanding the refining feminist arguments. Scholars and activists wheels upon earlier feminist theories, addressing new challenges and proposing innovative perspective. Among the significant contributions to feminist thought during this particular period were the Skeptical Feminism, which was written in 1982 by Richard. Another book is Gender, Justice and Family. It is written in the year 1993 by Richard and S.M. Okin. And another important book in this concern is Fire with Fire, which was also written in the year 1993 by Naomi Wolf. These books explored various aspects of feminism, including gender roles, justice, empowerment, and the practical means by which women could achieve equality. Now, if we'll give concentration on the Richard's book, The Skeptical Feminism, we'll find that Richard has tried to examine the limitation of certain feminist arguments while reaffirming the importance of gender equality. By questioning some of the movement's assumptions, Richard always tried to sought to refine feminist thoughts and ensure its intellectual rigor. Now, if we'll give emphasis on another book, that is the Gender, Justice and Family, we'll find that this book is also written by Richard and it is co-authored by S.M. Okin. Now, these particular writers have tried to focus in this particular book, that is Gender, Justice and Family, into the intersections of feminism, justice and family structures. This book argued for the necessity of gender justice within families and societal institutions, and they have also tried to advocate for policies and promote equal opportunities and dismantle traditional gender hierarchies. Now, I have already told you that from these various books, it can be clearly said that gender inequality or the patriarchal setup of the society has played an important role so far as the cultural, social and economic rules, regulations, and various policies of the various countries are concerned. So this particular books have given the, emphasis on all those things, and they have given emphasis on the fact that if equal opportunities and dismantle traditional gender hierarchies is to be removed, then first we have to focus on the on the minds of the people including both male and female for the proper orientation. Now, Nomewell's Fire with Fire's presents a different approach to feminist activism by trying to emphasize the need for women to actively engage in power dynamics to bring about change. Olf argued that women should not merely resist oppression but should also strategically use their influence and resources to effect systematic transformation. In the book Fire with Fires, it is found that the writer encouraged women to take on leadership roles, challenge male-dominated spaces, and leverage their strength to advance the cause of gender equality. This perspective represents a shift from earlier feminist critiques of power to a more proactive approaches that embraced empowerment as a key strategy for achieving equality. Over time, it has been noticed that feminism as a movement has transformed from being a reactive movement against oppression to an independent and comprehensive school of thought. Today, if we see the whole movement of feminism, we'll find that feminism encompasses political, social, and economic dimensions, seeking to create a more just and egalitarian society where both man and woman thrive without gender-based discrimination. Now, this particular evolution of feminist thoughts has led to recognition that gender inequality is not just a woman's issue but a fundamental human right concern that affects society as a whole. So earlier, whenever we are saying about gender, we are not the thinkers. Whenever thinkers saying about gender equality, actually people thought that it is something which was a fight against man, and it is something for women. But actually it is not the case. Whenever we are saying about gender equality, or somebody is saying about gender equality is something which give importance for basic human rights of all the individual irrespective of caste, creed, and sex. Now, so far as modern feminism is concerned, we'll find that modern feminism continues to address complex issues such as intersectionality, reproductive rights, workplace discrimination, and representation in media and politics. Now, intersectional feminism in particular has gained prominence by highlighting the ways in which race, class, sexuality, and other social factors intersect with gender, leading to unique experiences of oppression and privilege. This particular approach tried to recognize that feminism must be inclusive and responsive to the diverse experiences of all women, rather than focusing solely on the concerns of privileged few. Now, if we'll see the whole discussion, then we'll find that the development of feminism has been shaped by a rich history of intellectual contributions and activist movement, from the groundbreaking works of Greer, Frigate, and Millett in the year 1970 to the more recent analysis by Richard, O'Keefe, and Wolff. Feminist thought has continuously evolved to address new challenges and refine its arguments. Now, if we'll say about feminism, or if we'll see the present scenario, then we'll see that feminism today is not merely a movement for women's rights, but a holistic philosophy that seeks to dismantle systematic inequalities and promote social justice for all. As it continues to grow and adapt, feminism remains a vital force in the pursuit of a more equitable and inclusive world. Now, we have seen how the whole movement has been developed. Now, we'll see what are the basic characteristics of feminism. Now, if we'll see the characteristics of feminism, we'll find that feminism, both as a movement and as an ideology, has evolved significantly over time advocating for gender equality and challenging oppressive societal norms. Now, while feminism is diverse and encompasses various perspectives, its fundamental principles remain centered around eliminating discrimination, promoting individual freedom, and advocating for justice. Below are some of the defining characteristics of feminism that highlight its objectives, scopes, and core beliefs. Number 1, feminism is a movement against patriarchy. As its core, if we'll see, feminism challenged a patriarchal structure that have historically marginalized and oppressed women. Now, so far as patriarchy is concerned, it is a system in which power is predominantly held by man as long dictated social, political, and economic hierarchies. Now, feminism does not oppose man as individuals or target any specific group, but feminism always tried to criticize the systematic oppression ingrained in patriarchal norms. Feminism tries to seek to dismantle these particular structures and create a more equitable society where gender does not determine one's opportunities or rights. Now, throughout history, patriarchal system had relegated women to subordinate roles, restricting their access to education, employment, and political participation. Feminism works towards reforming laws, policies, and societal attitudes that perpetuate gender-based discrimination. By advocating for equal opportunities, feminist movements have played a crucial role in securing rights such as voting, reproductive autonomy, and workplace equality. This goal is not to strip man of power, but to ensure that power and opportunities are distributed fairly among all genders. Number 2 is feminism does not reject femininity. It is a common misconception about feminism is that it seeks to erase femininity or compel women to adopt traditionally masculine traits. However, feminism does not reject femininity. Rather, it promotes the idea that women should be free to define their identity without societal constraints. The movement acknowledges that gender norms have historically been used to limit women's potential, and it advocates for a world where individuals can express themselves authentically. Feminism does not dictate that women must conform to a single mode of behavior or appearance. Feminism tries to recognize and celebrates diverse expressions of gender identity, allowing women to embrace femininity or masculinity of their own terms. The movement opposes the imposition of rigid gender roles that dictate that women should or should not do. Whether a woman chooses to wear makeup, pursue a corporate career, or become a homemaker, feminism supports her right to make that choice free from coercion of judgment. Number 3 is feminism opposes gender discrimination. While acknowledging biological differences between males and females, feminism always tries to argue that these particular differences should not be used as a basis for discrimination. Gender roles are largely social constructs that have been used to justify unequal treatments. Feminism challenges these particular constructs by advocating for policies and practices that ensures fairness and equal opportunities. For centuries, biological arguments have been used to rationalize the exclusion of women from leadership roles, education, and certain professions. Feminism rejects these particular justifications and tries to emphasize that competence, intelligence, and skills are not determined by gender. The movement supports legislative measures that combat gender discrimination in workplaces, educational institutions, and social structures. Furthermore, feminism recognizes that gender discrimination affects not only women but also men and non-binary individuals. By challenging traditional gender norms, feminism always tried to advocate for a society in which all individuals are treated with respect and dignity regardless of their gender identity. Number 4 is Feminism seeks to change social mentality and outlook. A significant aspect of feminism is its effort to reshape societal attitudes toward gender equality. Culture, media, and social norms often perpetuate stereotypes that reinforce gender hierarchies. Women are frequently portrayed in media as submissive, emotional, or dependent, while men are depicted as dominant and assertive. I have already mentioned this particular point, and I had given the example of Bollywood movies. This particular portrayal contributes to societal expectation that limits personal and professional opportunities for individuals based on gender. Feminism challenges this particular narratives by promoting more accurate and respectful representation of women and men. The movement's work to change the way gender roles are perceived in various spheres, including advertising, literature, film, and education. Through activism, awareness campaigns, and policy advocacy, feminism aims to cultivate a culture that values individuals for their ability rather than conforming to outdated gender norms. Educational initiatives play a vital role in this transformation. By integrating gender studies and discussions on equality into curricula, societies can foster more progressive attitudes in future generations. Feminism encourages critical thinking about traditional norms and urges individuals to question biases that contribute to discrimination. Number 5 is feminism promotes the idea of mutual complementarity between genders. Now, so far as feminism is concerned, we'll find that to the contrary to the misconception that feminism seeks to establish female dominance, it actually advocates for mutual respect and cooperation between genders. Feminism recognizes that men and women have different experiences and perspectives, and it seeks to create a society where these differences do not result in inequality. Now, if we see this particular concept, we'll find that the concept of complementarity suggests that men and women can work together to build an equitable society. Feminism does not deny biological differences, but it tries to argue that these differences should not justify oppression. This particular movement promotes an inclusive approach that values the contributions of all individuals and ensures that everyone has access to opportunities without gender-based barriers. Number 6 is feminism acknowledges the value of women's traditional roles without accepting oppression. Feminism does not dismiss traditional roles such as caregiving, homemaking, or motherhood. Instead, it emphasizes that women should have the freedom to choose these roles rather than being confined to them by societal expectation. The problem arises when these roles are imposed to women as their only acceptable options, thereby limiting their own autonomy. Here, we can mention the name of Simone de Beauvoir, who is a key feminist thinker and who tried to highlight the importance of care and nurturing qualities in her book, The Second Sex. However, Weber has also pointed out that these particular qualities should not be used as a means to justify oppression. Feminism advocates for a world in which caregiving is valued equally to a professional achievement and where both men and women share domestic responsibilities. Number 7 is feminism is a humanistic philosophy. If we see the whole concept of feminism, we'll find that feminism extends beyond the fight for women's rights. It is a humanistic philosophy that supports justice, equality, and social welfare for all individuals. Feminism intersects with other movements that challenge oppression, including those advocating for racial justice, economic equity, and LGBTQ+ rights. And by addressing gender inequality, feminism tried to contribute to broader social progress. Now, whenever we use the term gender, it only doesn't differentiate between male and female, but the term gender has included within its scope all the genders, including LGBTQ+ people. Feminism has often been linked to socialist and communist ideologies in its rejection of exploitative structures. It opposes hierarchical systems that concentrate power in the hands of a privileged few while marginalizing others. Now, feminist version of an ideal society is one where individuals are valued based on their abilities and contributions rather than their gender or social status. Number 8 is feminism is an existentialist viewpoint. Existentialism is one of the most important trend or school of contemporary Western philosophy. Here, existentialism always gives focus on a individual's right and individual freedom. Now, in existentialism, a philosophical movement always emphasizing individual agency and freedom aligns closely with feminist thought. Now, so far as feminism is concerned, we'll find that feminism promotes the idea that every woman is an autonomous being with the right of self-determination. A woman should have the ability to make choices about her career, education, body, and identity without external coercion. Now, existentialist feminism, particularly influenced by Simone de Beauvoir, tried to assert that women must reclaim their own agency rather than being defined by societal roles. Feminism encourages women to break free from imposed identities and recognize their potential as independent, self-aware individuals. Feminism is a dynamic and evolving ideology that advocates for gender equality and social justice. It tried to challenge patriarchal structures, opposes gender discrimination, and works to reshape societal attitude. Now, so far as feminism is concerned, we'll find that it does not seek to eliminate femininity or masculinity, but rather promotes the idea that individuals should have the freedom to define their identities without restrictive norms. By fostering mutual respect, advocating for equal opportunities, and promoting human rights, feminism contributes to the creation of a fair and just society. Whether through legal reforms, cultural shift, or existentialist principles, feminism always tries to remain an essential force in the ongoing pursuit of equality and empowerment of all genders. Now, in the conclusion, we can say that the development of feminism has been a dynamic and evolving process shaped by influential thinkers, activists, and movements. From early feminist writings to contemporary discussions of gender equality, feminism has continually adopted to address new challenges and societal changes. The core characteristics of feminism emphasize its commitment or dismantling patriarchy, advocating for gender equality, and promoting social justice. Now, if we see feminism, we'll find that it is not merely a critique of oppression, but a movement towards empowerment and transformation. By challenging gender discrimination, reshaping cultural narratives, and advocating for policy changes, feminism continues to strive for a world where individuals are not defined by their gender but by their capabilities and aspirations. The philosophy of feminism underscores the necessity of an inclusive and egalitarian society where both men and women can contribute equally to social, political, and economic spheres. Though through education, activism, and progressive policies, the feminist movement continues to be a driving force of positive change worldwide. So in today's lecture, we have already discussed about the development of feminism and the various characteristics of feminism. So far we have discussed about the introduction part of the feminism, various waves of feminism, and today in this particular video we have covered up development of this particular movement with the characteristic. So I think learners, you have understood the basic concept of feminism. We have another video of feminism, and in that video we'll discuss about the liberal and radical viewpoints of feminist thinkers. Thank you.